Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Digimon video. So today I'm going to be talking about some Union Impact spoilers, and these spoilers are pretty neat because it tells a lot of what else is going to possibly be in the set, on top of which it also allows us to start thinking of some possible uses that these cards can, hold, and the future direction of the game as a result. So starting off with Selfiemon, it originally came from the combination of Aquilamon and Gatomon. And then it has a when Digivolving ability, where one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon's DP just becomes 1,000 till the end of the turn. 1,000 is not very big, so it is weak to a whole bunch of different forms of removal for both red and yellow. So there's that natural synergy there. On top of which, it also could debuff a potential blocker, so that way it wouldn't necessarily win a trade if it was going to trade, or if it was even going to win. And then it has another ability. During your turn, this card is also treated as a yellow Digimon. That's a pretty big line of text right there. It doesn't seem like it is, but it can be pretty important. Then it has no inheritable abilities. So this card probably is telling us that the Hawkmon Digivolution line is going to be available. So this set is probably going to have Hawkmon and Aquilamon because Selfiemon is in the set. On top of which, its two abilities are really good. The when Digivolved synergizes very well with what red and yellow is trying to do in terms of removal. On top of which, the other line of text where it's treated as yellow means that you could use it in either a red or yellow deck and then kind of do this like pivot where you could potentially play half a low end on one color and then high end on another color. So it's just really interesting because it opens up a lot of possible opportunities, and I definitely like this approach rather than having this card be just a hard dual color card because of potential search options, because of potential unforeseen synergies. So keeping it red on base and then on the field it could potentially be yellow is definitely a smarter move in terms of introducing a dual color Digimon. Next, we have Durandamon. So Durandamon is pretty interesting because of what the Digimon means and what the next spoiler is. Going over what he is, Durandamon is a level 6 Mega Digimon that can evolve for 3 off of either a level 5 Red or a level 5 Black. So that's pretty important because he can fit into either red or black. He doesn't have any innate abilities, but he gives the inheritable ability Piercing, and he's in red. So he already has a lot of potential synergies, so he is a great Digimon to Digivolve into Omnimon with, because he has the synergy where he gives Omnimon another inheritable ability, and it's Piercing. So that's just really powerful because Omnimon has some of the highest DP currently on base, and him swinging into the opponent's Digimon with piercing damage is really scary to think about, especially since he could restand and then attack the security or whatever. He has that potential synergy there. He plays in both red and black, so black isn't really doing a whole lot potentially as of right now, but the fact that black can now possibly play either Millenniumon or Omegamon is just something very interesting to think about because this gives Omegamon in black some opportunities. On top of that, he has his own evolution line, so we're probably going to see a lot of his lower forms. So that's also something interesting to look forward to. And then he also has the synergy going into the next spoiler, which is Ragna Lordmon. So Ragna Lordmon is a level 7, and he has security attack +1 and reboot on base. So he has a pretty powerful when Digivolved ability where you could add a Durandamon or Paiil from your hand on top of your Digivolution sources, and then you get +3 memory. He evolves off of a level 6 red or black Digimon for 3, so essentially if you use his when Digivolved ability, then you are going to basically play him for essentially free because you are getting the 3 memory you spent back when you use his ability. So what this card also means is, again, more potential synergies in red and black. So first, we're probably going to see Paiil Draman in the game. He's most likely going to be a black level 6 that, similar to Durandamon, will evolve off of a level 5 red or black Digimon. That also means we're going to be getting his Digivolution tree as well, so that's always something to think about. On top of which, looking into the card's history, he is a basically omnipotent tool card. So if Durandamon is the sword, then Paiil Draman is going to be the shield. So that means Paiil Draman's going to have a whole bunch of more defensive abilities, which again plays into more of Black's theme. The fact that he's a red level 7 is something very, very interesting to note, because he could have potential synergies with, let's just say, Tai from the Booster Set 1, where he could potentially get a whole bunch of security attack on top of piercing, on top of a couple of defensive black options. Like, this card has a whole bunch of different ability to be really, really powerful for either both black or red decks. So that's just something very, very interesting to think about. Next, we have Paiil Draman, and then he has a base ability of jamming, which is already pretty decent, and then he gives the inheritable ability when attacking once per turn. If this card's name contains Imperial German, this Digimon becomes active. That's kind of fitting into Blue's theme, where Blue likes to make their Digimon become active for some more attacks, and then Imperial German, as we'll see, has his own abilities that really play into what Paiil Draman is giving, and kind of this whole, like, Paiil Draman package. But the fact that, unlike Selfiemon, he doesn't have the ability to be green is definitely something interesting. But the fact that you could, again, either play a different color low end and a different color top end means that it opens the door to more deck building possibilities and diversity. Next, we have Imperial German Dragon Mode, and he has the ability, if this Digimon digivolves from Paiil Draman or Dino Beemon, then the Digivolution cost is reduced by 2, which makes him 3. So that really incentivizes the fact that you want to play him off of Paiil Draman or Dino Beemon. And then he has jamming himself, continuing with that theme that Paiil Draman kind of is starting, where it's like jamming does matter. And then he has a when Digivolved ability of all your Digimon with jamming become active. So this allows you to set up some pretty interesting and powerful lines of play, where you could be like, okay, swing with Paiil Draman, jamming, don't care, not gonna die. Digivolve into Imperial German stands him up, attack with jamming, then Paiil Draman's inheritable effect stands him up, and then he could attack again. So it is definitely looking like he is going to be doing some pretty interesting, powerful things, on top of the fact that he is going to be able to play with, at least in blue, the Veemon line stuff, because you have all of that sub-theme going on. And this is just off of the 2 cards that we know that go with it. Next, we have Shakuman. So it has the ability, your turn. This card is also treated as blue. So again, it's not going crazy with the whole split color, but it is considering trying to be the option for both. And then its other ability is during the opponent's turn, all of your opponent's Digimon without Digivolution sources get security attack -1. That's also kind of playing into what blue and yellow have been doing, where yellow does generally debuff the opponent, so security attack -1 isn't something new to yellow, and then interacting with no Digivolution sources isn't something different than what blue has been doing. So it's just taking those 2 elements and combining them into something really, really powerful. So the security attack at -1 is pretty relevant, because everyone's thinking, oh, it's going to stop Rookie Rush, it's going to kill Rookie Rush. I think Rookie Rush is still going to be a relatively powerful deck. This is just a card that can help mitigate its oppressiveness. but I don't necessarily think this is going to completely kill it off because, again, decks tend to adapt, and Rookie Rush could play, I don't know, some removal cards just to remove some of the Digimon like Shakuman, so that way they could actually use their security attacks. On top of which, if you're playing it in blue, blue doesn't really have that great of removal, so they could just swarm the field, play a removal, then attack for game. So there's still lines and ways out of it. It, again, is just a very good tool to help mitigate some of that damage, and it's not like it's that hard to set up either. But Shakuman's origins is from Angemon and Aquilomon. So we currently don't have Aquilomon in the game. We do have Armadillomon, so who knows, we might see another Armadillomon, and we're probably going to end up seeing Aquilomon, just because this card is going to be in the game also. So the interesting thing to note is it doesn't have any inheritables, but again, this type of thing doesn't really need to. Next, we have Dino Beemon. So Dino Beemon is the other combination of Stingmon and XVmon that people probably don't necessarily know because Paiil Draman is just the more commonly known one. He has two keywords, piercing and jamming, which in combination is pretty dangerous. But he's just looking to be another piece in the Imperial German cog, and he is definitely a pretty powerful piece. Even if he's not in Imperial German, just the fact that he has piercing and jamming can synergize with a lot of current and existing decks already. And then the last spoiler we got today from Union Impact is Malmiotismon, and he has a pretty powerful main ability where he has piercing, and then during both players' turns, basically, if any Digimon is destroyed, you get +1 memory for each Digimon destroyed. That's not once per turn, so you could potentially destroy a whole bunch of Digimon and then get a whole bunch of memory as a result. So he is looking to be a pretty powerful card. He is really costly at 13 to play normally or 5 to Digivolve off of a level 5, but he is a level 6 Mega, and the ability to gain a whole bunch of memory is pretty dangerous depending on the deck that he would go in and how he's played, because again, purple already has a whole bunch of self-sacrificing to destroy the opponent's stuff, so you're just going to be getting memory every time you do that, and maybe we'll see purple lean more into that self-sacrifice strategy, so that way they can try to further capitalize on this type of card. So that's all of the main spoilers from the set. Now, we did get a new promo revealed of a new world, which is a green option card that costs 0, but it does have the main ability where if you have a Mimi in play, you basically get to play one Palmon from your hand for free, and then you get to bounce the Mimi back to your hand. I don't know how good this card is currently because you have to bounce your Mimi to play a Palmon for free. Like, Mimi's already a pretty important tamer that you want to have on the field, so maybe if there's a lower cost Mimi, then this card gets better. But for the meantime, I don't necessarily know how good this card is because it has such a very niche use. But it definitely is a card to look out for and one to think about, because if there is, let's just say, a lower cost Mimi, then this card definitely does get better. On top of which, if they do any off-color Mimis or off-color Palmons, this would synergize with those off-color cards. So there's just a whole bunch of different things to think about. But again, as of right now, I don't necessarily know how good this card is. But that's it for the spoilers for today. There were a lot of powerful and interesting cards, and it looks like that they are also trying to address some of the issues with the game that some people might have. We still haven't even seen security Digimon and what those could possibly be, so there is definitely still a lot of potential that we have yet to even see in the set, outside of the few cards that we know already. So that's kind of it for this video. As always, tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next video.